Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into the Kawai CN201 digital piano.
We sure are. We've got the owner's manual here, lots of user feedback, and FAQ.
Right, the whole package. And the goal here is simple. Cut through all that info, pull out what really matters, so you get a solid understanding of this piano fast.
Exactly. What it can do, what people actually using it think. It's your shortcut to knowing the CN201.
Okay then, let's unpack this. Where do we start? User experiences.
Yeah, let's dive into those first. The overall picture. It seems like it's built for, well, serious players, whether you're just starting out or you're pretty advanced.
Okay, so a broad appeal, but serious intent.
Definitely. People often call it surprisingly complete, especially given its price range. A real step up, they say, from the older CN29 model.
So what's the absolute #1 thing users are raving about? The standout feature?
Overwhelmingly, it's the keyboard feel. The updated responsive hammer, the third action that gets mentioned constantly.
RHIT, right. What about it specifically?
People love the Ivory Touch surface. They say it really helps mimic the feel, the grip of real acoustic keys.
Ah, so it's not just weight, it's texture too. The actual touch.
Precisely, and that carries through to the overall playing feel. Users describe it as smooth, natural, with this subtle resistance like you'd find on a grand. And technically, it has pressure sensors, counterweights in each key, which basically means you get amazing dynamic control.
So you can play really soft, really loud, and everything in between.
Exactly. From delicate pianissimo to big fortissimos, users find the action solid, comfortable, good for long practice sessions.
Feel is critical, no doubt. But what about the sound? How does that stack up?
The sound gets really high marks, too. It uses Kawai's Progressive Harmonic Imaging.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It means they didn't just record a piano sound. They meticulously sampled every single key of a high-end concert grand.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and users say that creates this really rich, layered, complex tone. The manual even points out the new SKEX competition grand sample really shines here.
And how does it sound coming out of the built-in speakers?
Pretty good, apparently. 2 20-watt speakers. Users find it spacious, clear, and definitely loud enough for most home situations.
Right. And in today's world, connectivity is huge. How's the CN201 on that front?
That's another strong point people mention. It's got both Bluetooth audio and Bluetooth MIDI.
Both. That's great.
Yeah, it makes connecting to apps like Kawai's own piano remote or lesson platforms or even DAWs really easy. Wireless.
Super convenient. What about features aimed specifically at learning or teaching?
It seems well equipped there too. Users appreciate things like the dual mode, splitting the keyboard for teacher-student playing, plus the built-in metronome, the recording function, and it even has lesson books loaded in, all seen as really useful tools.
And the physical piano itself, the cabinet, the build.
Solid, well-finished. That's the consensus. Comes in a few colors, minimalistic design, but it feels quality, reliable, like it's built to last.
So putting all that user feedback together, what's the summary?
It sounds like the authentic key feel and the realistic, detailed sound are the biggest wins. Backed up by modern stuff like Bluetooth. People see it as great value.
Right, an instrument you can grow with.
Exactly. Good for beginners, good for intermediate players. A solid long-term choice because it combines that traditional feel with useful tech.
Any downsides that kept popping up in the user feedback?
Right.
Limitations.
The main one really was about the maximum speaker volume.
Oh, okay.
While everyone agrees it's fine, even more than fine, for home use. Some felt it might not be quite loud enough for a really large room or, say, a small performance without plugging into an amp.
Makes sense. But for its intended use, in a home, generally okay.
Yeah, for most users, it doesn't seem to be a major issue, just something to be aware of if you have a huge space.
Okay, so summing up the users.
Yeah.
Killer feel, great sound, good features like Bluetooth. Main watch-out is maybe speaker volume for large rooms.
That's a perfect summary. Spot on.
All right, let's switch gears. Time to dig into the owner's manual, the official word. What are the crucial bits in there?
Okay, the manual. It starts, as you'd expect, with safety. Lots of symbols and warnings.
Standard stuff, mostly.
It is, yeah. But the big, bold message is, do not open IT. Seriously. No user serviceable parts, dangerous voltage inside.
Got it. Keep hands out.
And keep it dry. Rain, spills, any moisture, big no-no. Risk of electric shock or fire. Clear symbols for that.
Okay. Don't open, keep dry.
Yeah.
What else stands out on the safety front? Power. Physical stuff.
Power, yes. Use the included AC adapter, check the voltage, and this is important. The power button doesn't fully disconnect it.
Really?
Yeah, if you're not using it for a long time or during a storm, you must unplug the adapter from the wall. That's the only way to completely cut power and avoid fire risk.
Good tip. Physically.
It's heavy. Needs 2 people to lift it properly, don't drag it, and don't lean on it or put heavy things on top. It could tip or get damaged. Basic, but worth remembering.
Practical stuff. What about where you put it? And cleaning.
Avoid direct sun, extreme heat or cold, humidity, dust. Needs good ventilation too, leave space around it, don't block vents.
In cleaning, just wipe it down.
Pretty much. Dry, soft cloth is best. Stay away from alcohol, bleach, thinners, they can wreck the finish. Oh, and for the pedals, interestingly, they suggest a dry dish sponge if they get dirty, says a cloth might dull them.
A dish sponge.
Oh.
Okay, noted. So fundamental safety and care covered. Let's get into actually using it based on the manual. What are the key operational things?
Well, beyond the obvious power and volume slider, you've got the display and the main buttons. 1, 2, UP, down, sound select, metronome, rec, play stop. That's your main way to navigate.
And sounds? How do you choose?
19 sounds included. The default is that SKEX concert grand we mentioned. You can just use UP down or the sound select button to cycle through them. Pretty straightforward.
Okay. And the pedals, there are 3. How do they work here?
Standard layout. Damper on the right, sostenuto in the middle, soft on the left. The damper does sustain, supports half pedaling like an acoustic. Sostenuto sustains only the notes held when you press it. Soft pedal, well, it softens the sound, but for the jazz or D sound, it actually controls the rotary speaker speed.
Oh, interesting secondary function.
Yeah. And the manual mentions it's the grand feel pedal system, suggesting they aimed for realistic weighting.
What about practice tools like the metronome and recorder?
Metronome is simple. Press the button on off. You can adjust tempo, the beat or time signature, and volume using the display and buttons.
And recording.
You can record up to 3 songs internally, hit REC, pick a slot, and start playing, or hit play stop. Big caveat, it overwrites whatever was in that slot before.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
Playback is just play stop. And a neat feature, you can change the tempo during playback using the metronome settings. Great for practice.
That is handy. The manual mentioned a music menu too, with lesson and concert magic.
Right. That's where some extra features live. The lesson function seems quite detailed. It has built-in songs from standard method books, Alfred, Bayer, Turney, Chopin, though the exact books depend on your region.
So you can practice along with those.
Yep. You can play along, practice just the left hand, just the right hand, or both. And adjust the tempo, of course.
And concert magic, what's that about?
That's kind of unique. It's got 40 songs, and you can play them just by tapping any key.
Any key.
Any key. The rhythm and tempo come from how you tap. The dynamics from how hard you tap. It's designed so anyone can feel like they're performing, even without reading music. Different modes, too, like easy beat or melody play.
Huh. Sounds like a fun, maybe slightly gimmicky, but engaging feature.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive deeper into the settings menu. How do you customize this piano?
Right, you get into settings using the 1 button. There's a fair bit you can tweak. Sound-wise, you can add reverb, different types like room, hall, cathedral.
Standard effects, what else?
Tone control lets you adjust the overall EQ options like brilliance, bass boost, loudness. There's also a low volume balance setting to specifically help pianissimo playing sound better at low master volumes.
Interesting. Can you adjust the core piano sound itself beyond just EQ or reverb?
Yes, and this is where the virtual technician idea comes in, specifically the onboard smart mode.
Smart mode.
Yeah, it's like presets for voicing. Instead of tweaking dozens of tiny parameters, which you might do via an app, this gives you single-touch options like noiseless, deep resonance, brilliant, mellow, rich, historical, quick ways to change the piano's character.
So easy ways to find a sound profile you like.
Exactly. You can also adjust the damper noise level, that subtle sound the mechanism makes, and get really granular with key volume, adjusting the loudness of each of the 88 keys individually.
Wow, individual key volume. That's detailed. What about layering sounds or splitting the keyboard?
Yep, got those. Dual mode lets you layer 2 sounds, say piano and strings, and you can adjust the balance between them.
And splitting.
That's the 4 hands mode. Splits the keyboard at middle F, F4, creating 2 identical zones, perfect for duets or lessons. Each side even gets its own pedal assignment.
Very practical for teaching. Let's talk connectivity settings again, specifically Bluetooth from the manual's perspective.
Okay, the manual confirms you can turn Bluetooth on or off, and it stresses the 2 types, MIDI and audio.
Right, MIDI for data, Audio for streaming sound to the piano.
Correct. MIDI usually connects via an app. Audio connects through your phone or tablet's regular Bluetooth settings menu. The manual also mentions you can fine-tune the volume of the incoming Bluetooth audio.
Oh, that's useful.
And if pairing gets stuck, holding 1 and 2 together on the home screen resets it.
Good to know. Any other standout settings?
Headphone users might like the spatial headphone sound, aims for a more realistic, less fatiguing soundstage. Options like forward, normal, wide. You can also tell it what type of headphones you're using, open, closed, in-ear, etc. to optimize the sound.
Nice touch.
And then utility stuff, auto display off, auto power off after inactivity. You can set the times or turn them off. And of course, a factory reset option to wipe everything back to default if needed.
Okay, we've covered user views, manual deep dive. Let's finish by tackling some frequently asked questions, pulling from both sources.
Sounds good. A really common one. What's the main difference between this CN201 and the older CN29?
And the answer is?
Key things are the updated keyboard mechanism that refined RHIFI, the addition of Bluetooth audio, and the improved sound engine with that SKEX competition grand sample.
Makes sense. And the question of who it's for.
Comes back to beginners and intermediate players, mainly. People who want that realism and potential to grow.
The keyboard realism question gets asked a lot, I bet.
It does, and the FAQ reinforces the user praise. RHIFI, Ivory Touch, authentic feel, great dynamics. Same for sound quality, praise as rich, layered, natural due to that detailed sampling.
And the volume question again.
Yep, FAQ confirms. Plenty for home use. Might need external amplification for bigger spaces. Consistent message there.
Connectivity options.
Reaffirmed. Bluetooth audio and MIDI are key strengths for apps, learning, use.
Good for teaching.
Definitely. Dual mode, lessons, metronome, recorder all get highlighted. Build quality also noted as solid, making it a good long-term investment.
Right. Now let's pull in some troubleshooting from the manual as FAQs. What if the piano just won't turn on or shuts off by itself?
First, check all the power connections, adapter to piano, adapter to wall. Then, check that auto power off setting isn't kicking in unexpectedly early.
Display goes blank.
Probably the auto display off setting. Just press any button.
No sound, or it sounds weirdly distorted.
Basics first. Master volume slider up. Headphones unplugged. Check the local control setting is on if you want the keys to trigger the internal sounds. Distortion at high volume, just turn it down a bit. And remember that point about some notes sounding slightly off sometimes?
Yeah, the realism thing.
Exactly. The manual says that's likely normal resonance simulation, not a fault.
If just one or two keys seem louder or softer than others.
That's where the individual key volume setting comes in handy. You can adjust those specific keys.
High notes sustaining for ages.
Also normal. Mimics acoustic pianos where the highest strings don't have dampers. Pedal problems. Check the cable connection underneath first, and make sure that pedal support bolt is firmly touching the floor for stability.
Okay. And finally, Bluetooth connection woes.
Double-check Bluetooth is actually turned on in the piano settings. Make sure you're connecting the right way. App for MIDI, device settings for audio. Try toggling Bluetooth off and on again on your phone or tablet. And if all else fails, reset the pairing on the piano by holding 1 and 2.
Whew. Okay, I think we've really dissected the Kawai CN201 now. From what users love to the nitty-gritty in the manual and hitting those common questions.
Yeah, the picture is really consistent. It's all about that realistic key feel, the RHIII action and Ivory Touch, combined with the very rich, detailed sound thanks to the individual key sampling and that SKEX sample.
Plus the modern necessities like Bluetooth audio and MIDI wrapped up in a solid build.
Absolutely. It comes across as a really strong contender for learners and intermediate players who prioritize that authentic piano experience but also want the convenience of digital features.
A reliable instrument that seems like it would serve you well for a long time.
So thinking about that blend, the authentic touch, the great sound, the smart learning tools, the connectivity, how might the Kawai CN201 fit into your musical journey? Something to ponder.
Definitely. And to discover more about integrating music technology like this into your playing and practice, subscribe to Muziekbundle World.